like to call this meeting the Westland City Council order and begin with the Pledge of Allegiance led by Councilman Hornbuckle.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Clerk, roll call.
Councilman Godbout. Present. Councilman Herzberg. Here. Councilman Hornbuckle. Here. Councilman McDermott. Here. Pro Tem Markowski. Present. Councilwoman Sampe. Present. President Hart.
Here.
A quorum, Mr. President.
Thank you. Begin with special presentations and announcements. We have a legislative update from our State Representative Kevin Coleman.
Well, thank you, Council President. Thank you, City Council. I appreciate you giving me just a moment of your time tonight before your meeting begins. I just wanted to let you know the state of Michigan the legislature in the state of Michigan is continuing to work through the budget process. We have passed House versions of the budget. The Senate has passed Senate versions of the budget. And then the two sides of appropriations will meet in conference committee in the coming weeks. So I look forward to sharing hopefully good news, but I want to let you know that I continue to advocate for the needs of Wayne County and of course the city of Westland as your representative. And then I wanted to let you know that we are looking at a lot of legislation. My committees have been very active. And just to let you know that the committees that I serve on, I'm the chair of the Housing Subcommittee. I'm vice chair of Military and Veterans Affairs. I serve on Insurance and Financial Services, Energy, Communications and Technology, and then also Transportation. So we have a lot of policy areas that our office is working on. It's keeping us very busy, but I continue to hone in on the issues here in Westland. And of course, I am very always available to speak if any member of the council, administration, or any resident has any questions, input, or feedback. We are always happy to talk. So I do appreciate you giving me a moment of your time. Again, our coffee hours are always the second Monday of every month at 9 a.m. So the next one will be, let's see, June 12th at 9 a.m. at Homestead Kitchen along Wayne Road there, which is in the same strip mall as Carlos Mexican Restaurant on Wayne Road here in Westland. And then if you need to get a hold of our office at all, our phone number is 517-373-2275. Of course, I always give out my cell phone number, 734-751-6321. And of course, you can contact us by email as well, kevincoleman@house.mi.gov. Thank you again. Have a great meeting.
Thank you. Next, we'll invite up Dan Stachow, representing the VFW 985 in regards to the Memorial Day Parade.
Good evening, Mayor Landau, Chief of Staff Reddy, Council President Hart, and the rest of the City Council members. Just like to remind everybody the Memorial Day Parade is going to be held Sunday, May the 28th. It's a 1 o'clock start. I'm going to give you 3 ways to get involved in it. The first one is you can go on the City of Westland's website, punch in Memorial Day Parade online participation request form. There's a form that you can fill out, take care of it right there. You can also contact Vic Barra at VBARRA@cityofwestland.com. He can leave a message and he'll get you filled out. Also, you can go to Vic's phone number, which is 734-793-3909. This year's parade route remains the same as it's been the last 5 or 6 years or more. We'll be starting at John Glenn High School, taking Carlson Avenue across Ford Road. We'll be getting on Central City Parkway, taking that down behind the library where we'll be at the Westland Veterans Memorial Gardens. And when the parade ends there, there'll be a slight ceremony to honor those who served. Again, to get involved in a parade, it's cityofwestland.com, Wayne Westland Veterans Memorial Day Parade. You can try Vic Barra at 734-793-9309, or you can email Vic Barra at vbarra at cityofwestland.com. Thank you very much, and I appreciate the time you gave me.
Thank you. All right. We now move to questions or input on the agenda from the public. This section will allow a person to be recognized only at the beginning of the meeting to address the council pertaining to items that are specifically on the business agenda. Questions asked may be responded to during the agenda item following a motion and support from council. Is there anyone on my left? Is there anyone on my right? Sir.
My name is Edward Pruitt, and I'm a citizen and a community advocate in Westland. Tonight, I will speak concerning calendar item F and other expenditures totaling approximately $380,000, the substance of which hidden in this 225-page agenda that the community members actually here have not received the agenda at all, if they found it normally tucked away in the magazine rack. But before I discuss that, I wanted to wish every mother figure a happy belated Mother's Day. When we recognize, as was acknowledged in the last budget study session and in the last city council meeting, that the city of Westland is being propped up financially by ARPA funds, a COVID-era funding scheme for governments, it should cause the government officials, especially the city council, as a checks and balances arm, to demonstrate a greater investment in being the checks and balances arm. Instead, you have placed the $380,000 in expenditures in the consent calendar for a blind signed off with no discussion. Are you not going to ask the administration any questions publicly? Yeah. No, not the feel-good questions, but the questions concerning how this would impact the current trajectory.
Sir, these have nothing to do with the ARPA funds. These are the home buyer funds.
I understand that, and I would like to finish my comments without being interrupted, and you've taken my time. I do understand exactly what this is.
Okay. All right.
No, again, not the feel-good questions, but the questions concerning how this would impact the current trajectory of a potential need for tax increases. That council member McDermott brought up, and Councilwoman Ratowski shook her head repeatedly in agreement to his statement about discussing millages. The retort will be that much of the funds for these expenditures are covered by a reallocation of existing funds, and that what they are going to be used for is good. And I believe that they're good. But we need to make sure that we're doing the proper checks and balances to make sure that we recognize what the future outcome would be. It's time for you to begin to ask questions. Lastly, the community gets access to the agenda on Friday before the Monday City Council meeting, and the City Council as a whole gets it 2 days prior to that. This was a robust document of 225 pages with 2 days as the weekend. When did you get to ask your questions of the administration and seek out your constituents' views on these items to be discussed? I mean, you only had 5 days with 2 of those days as the weekend, and I give you credit that you have families and other jobs. It is your time to make sure that we have first, second, and third readings so that you can have the adequate time to reach out to your constituents and ask the questions, and the constituents can digest what is in this document. Now, I understand that you said these were not for the ARPA funds, but people need to be able to read the documents.
Thank you. Is there anyone on my left? Ma'am.
Hi, Denise Sedman. The reason I'm up here is just to say I couldn't find the agenda for today, and I looked in the bottom. It was May 1 agenda, so there's a lot of people here that have May 1 notes. So I would appreciate it if you would make the current agenda available before the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll take that up, Mr. Clerk, later. All right, is there anybody on my right? Sir?
Good evening, everyone. Richard Graham from Westland, and also with Move Westland Forward. ARPA funds were mentioned, but Maybe use some of the ARPA funds to fix the air conditioning. Regarding consent calendar item I, interesting that the city of Westland is doing such a poor job, under 43% funded with our municipal pension system, that we qualify to submit a possible grant for $26 million. I guess the failings of the administration for many years now might actually work to our benefit. So, how did we get this far? And besides a grant, what is the administration doing to increase the funding by, say, over 75%, and not just a few percentage points? Thank you.
Okay. Is there anyone on my left? Anybody on my right? All right, we'll close input on the agenda, move to the consent calendar. Is there a motion? Support. Motion from Councilwoman Sampe, supported from Councilman Herzberg. Are there any changes to the consent calendar? Any changes to the consent calendar? Any dissent? Any dissent? Seeing no dissent, motion carries unanimously.
Council has approved the following consent calendar items. Approval of minutes of the regular meeting held May 1, 2023. Approval of minutes of the budget study session held April 29, 2023. Approval of TNT Fireworks to operate a seasonal temporary fireworks tent in the Bricks West Ridge Shopping Center, 35645 Warren Road. Approval of renewal of the existing financial management system with BS&A software for a one-year period. Approval of requests to reprogram CDBG and home funds. Adoption of prepared resolution authorizing the Wayne Westland Community School District Construction Technology Partnership Agreement to use 2023-2024 home funds in the amount of $225,000 to build and/or rehabilitate the property at 1674 South Crown. Adoption of the prepared resolution authorizing Liberator Development Group to use 2023-2024 home funds in the amount of $52,285 to build and/or rehabilitate the property at 34001 Ensley. Adoption of the prepared resolution authorizing the City of Westland to adopt the former Michigan Municipal Employees Retirement System transfer provisions effective January 1, 2016. Adoption of the prepared resolution authorizing the City of Westland Chief Administrative Officer, the Mayor, to apply for the Michigan Department of Treasury Protecting My Pension Grant Program to assist in underfunded municipal pension systems. The last item on the consent calendar approved today, approval of the Property Disposition Committee's recommendation of the sale of the city-owned property, 510 South Newburgh, as is, to the adjacent business owner for the sum of $150,000. Moving to payment of vouchers.
Is there motion from Councilman Herzberg? Support. Supported from Councilman McDermott. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Any dissent? Any dissent? Seeing no dissent, motion carries unanimously.
Moving to new business, item 1, appointment of Aaron Brown to the Downtown Development Authority, filling the unexpired term, effective immediately and expiring March 17, 2025.
Motion from Councilwoman Sampe, supported from Councilman Herzberg. Mayor?
Thank you, President Hart. Thank you, City Council, for considering Mr. Brown's appointment tonight to fill an unexpired term on the Downtown Development Authority. Mr. Brown's term will become effective upon council approval and will expire on May 17, 2025. Mr. Brown is the franchisee owner of the new Tommy's Express Car Wash located at 37401 Ford Road. His resume is included for your review. It's very extensive, and we're asking for your approval tonight. He is in the audience tonight, and we appreciate him stepping up to serve on the DDA.
Thank you. Anything from the maker?
Yeah. I just want to tell you, I love Tommy's. I wanted to say congratulations, but we bought the monthly package. My son goes there 3 times a week, so I wanted to also plug that too from a business perspective. But congratulations and thank you for stepping up. It's really a pleasure to have you involved in our community. You're welcome.
All right. Nothing from the supporter, I see. So there's any other discussion? Any other discussion? Any dissent? Any dissent? Seeing no dissent, motion carries unanimously. Sir, please stand up and be recognized.
New business, item 2, approval of site plan and special land use for proposed child care center, 2146 South Wayne Road. This is Planning Department number 2256. The Planning Commission recommends approval contingent upon departmental requirements and recommendations.
Motion from Councilman Godbout, supported from Councilman Hertzberg. Mo?
Thanks, Council President. Good evening, City Council. This property comprises of about 13,000 square feet. It's zoned CB1. That's our low-intensity commercial business district. Currently, the property contains an old single-family dwelling, which was previously used as a music store, I believe guitar shop, and specifically, the petitioner purchased this property and proposes to locate a child daycare center on the first floor of the building. The child care center will service children from 6 weeks of age to 8 years of age. Really, this is an expansion or extension of the child care center that is operating over here in this location to the north. As I mentioned, the owner-operator of this child care center purchased this building and is extending the operation into that first floor area. Property to the north of this location is zone CB1. That's the daycare facility I just described. To the south is a combination of R5 single-family residential, and we have a drive-through restaurant here that's zone CB1. To the east, across the street, is CB1 commercial and is vacant. And then to the west, on the opposite side, is R5 single-family developed with single-family dwellings. The future land use designation in the master plan is neighborhood commercial office services. The planning department feels that daycare facilities align with that designation. Some specifics about the site and operations is the site is accessed currently by a full-service driveway at Wayne Road, which will remain. The site will share parking and pedestrian cross-access with the existing child care center to the north, which contains sufficient parking for both of the buildings to operate. Let's see, there's an existing play area on the adjacent site, which the state requires for child care centers, and they will share that play area as well. The site contains existing screening and landscaping to screen the adjacent residential properties. Hours of operation are Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. That's all I have. The administration and planning department are recommending approval. Planning commission had a public hearing on this on May 3rd. There was a resident that came out and wanted some screening over here because of the play area, and then realized after discussion that the play area is actually on the adjacent parcel. So that was satisfied during discussion. I know the owners and operators are here. I can help answer any questions, and so can they. Thank you.
Thank you, Mo. Well, I'm not going to let him off that easy. Would you come on up here, please?
Good evening.
How you doing? Is there anything that Mo didn't tell us that you want to tell us? Because Mo's usually pretty good. Is there anything else you want to offer?
He was pretty thorough.
Okay, very good. Oh, well, if you get nothing else to offer, is there anything from the maker? Councilman Godbout. Anything from the supporter? Any discussion from the council? Any discussion? Any dissent? Any dissent? Seeing no dissent, motion carries unanimously. Congratulations and good luck. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
New business, item 3. There is not an echo in the room. Approval of site plan and special land use for proposed preschool and child care center, 33200 Warren Road. This is Planning Department number 1178A. Planning Commission recommends approval contingent upon departmental requirements and recommendations.
Support.
It's a motion from Councilman McDermott, supported from Pro Tem Rakowski. Mo?
Thank you. This property comprises of about 35,000 square feet and is zoned OB. That's our office business district. Currently, this property contains an old single-family dwelling, currently used as a medical office. The petitioner proposes to locate a child care center in this building, serving children from 1 year to 10 years of age. And again, child care centers are special land uses in the OB, in all of the commercial business districts as well. This is obviously different than the previous case, but just to pause and state for the record that not only does Westland, but the entire area is in need of additional child care facilities. So just thought I'd mention that. Adjacent land use and zoning, properties to the north are R5 single-family residential. This is a single-family subdivision here. Property to the south is, it's a apartment facility. It's zoned GAR, that's our garden apartment residential district. We have OB to the east, but these are residential dwellings. And then property to the west, that is an office complex zoned OB as well. The future land use designation here is similar as the previous, which is neighborhood commercial and office services. Some quick points about this site. It's accessed by a full service driveway. Let me see if I have a picture of it. It's right here, right off of Warren Road. There's also sufficient parking and access on this site to accommodate the child care facility. There's a 2,800 square foot proposed play area in the rear yard, kind of in this area over here. And there's some screening to the rear adjacent to the residential properties. The hours of operation for this child care facility are Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. And this was on the May 3rd Planning Commission agenda as well, where they held a public hearing. No residents came out in opposition for this specific one. And I know the owner operators in the audience today. I'd be happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Is petitioner here? Come on up. Is there anything you would like to offer?
No.
No. Well, we're not going to let you out of the hot seat at least. Is there anything from the maker? Anything from the supporter? Any other discussion from the council? I got you. Any discussion from the council?
There looks to be discussion.
Oh, you have discussion? Councilman Sampe, I do apologize.
Do you want to go first? You sure?
He
Okay.
needs to abstain.
So thank you, Mo, for mentioning that. I actually have a family friend that's been looking for a daycare with availability for quite some time. So it's good to see both of you here opening some daycare facilities in our area. So thank you for your commitment to the city, both of you.
Councilman Hersberg?
Thanks, Council President. I haven't had to do this before, but this is my brother in the audience and my sister-in-law, so I feel it's best if I abstain from voting for this. But I will say she's been in business at another location for quite a few years now in Westland. I believe that church is closing, so that resulted in this move. So that's it for me. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Any other discussion? Roll call.
Councilman Gaba. Yes. Councilman Hersberg. Councilman Hornbuckle.
Yes.
Councilman McDermott.
Yes.
Pro Tem Rakowski. Yes. Councilwoman Sampe.
Yes.
President Hart.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Good luck and congratulations.
Thank you.
All right. Now move into public comment. Everyone speaking before the council should do so in a civil manner. Speakers shall refrain from abusive or profane remarks, vulgar language, disruptive outbursts, threats, racial slurs, or other conduct that interferes with the business meeting. Personal attacks on council members, the administration, city staff, other speakers, or members of the public will not be tolerated. The clock will start upon the first words of the speaker and will not stop while the speaker is recognized from the floor. It is the speaker's option to ask questions at this time, and the person questioned may choose to respond during the speaker's allotment of time. However, the clock will not be stopped once it is started. The clock will continue to run until the speaker is completed or their speaking time is exhausted, whichever comes first. Is there anyone on my left? Yes, ma'am.
Hello. maybe Councilman Hart, maybe you could answer this question. If not, I think it might go to the mayor. I just want the status of the marijuana facilities and where they're going to be located and when they might be starting build.
Well, I'll comment a little bit. There's one being built right now. It's on Ford Road. So that's under construction. As far as the rest of them, I'm going to ask my city attorney to go ahead and address that during his comments, if that's all right.
Okay, and then Ford Road and what?
It's right next to the new Dairy Queen.
Okay, thank you.
You got it. Is there anyone on my right? This young lady had her hand up first. We'll come back.
Can 2 people come up? Or?
One person can speak.
Hello, my name's Joanne Schwab. I'm the founder of 3B's Native Plant Garden, and I'm not here to yell at you today, so maybe that's okay. And Pam Burton's over there. She's one of my volunteers. And I've been Westland for about 35 years, but I got an offer I couldn't refuse, and I bought my dad's house when he passed. So I don't live here anymore, sorry. But Pam's been living here 50 years, so. Okay, well, we're cordially inviting you to a park bench dedication at 3B's. It's Hayes Elementary School collected a whole bunch of, the Green Club collected a whole bunch of bottle caps, recycled them and made them into a park bench. So it's on Wednesday, May 24th at 11 o'clock. And we're also going to have, Christine Lakatos, she's the Green Club teacher. She's done some really wonderful things at Hayes Elementary School. She's wonderful. And we're also going to do a time capsule. So May 24th, 2031, if I'm still here, if not, I'm going to come back as a butterfly. But the kids will graduate from high school then, and they'll open up the time capsule. Okay, so mark that one on your calendar too. Okay, next is Saturday, June 24th. We'll be having the Community Appreciation Day at 3B's. It's located in Corrado Park. We'll have a Name the Songbird contest. We'll have a Build the Bird game for the kids, a tour of the Children's Sensory Garden, and some refreshments. And then our volunteer days are Wednesdays and Saturdays from 10 to 1, April to October, weather permitting. This is all weather permitting. Okay, so that's it. Thank you, and I hope to see you there.
Thank you. Ma'am, did you tell us what time that was?
The park bench one is at 11 o'clock.
Okay.
Wednesday, May 24th. And then the one on June 24th is from 11 to 1.
Thank you. All right, is there anybody on my left? Sir. Mr. Warren.
Okay, good evening. Arthur Warren, President of the Southeast Westland Homeowners Association. Just a short time ago, there's a billboard, 2 billboards located at Van Born and Henry Ruff. The workers decided that they would change the advertising on the billboard, and to the mayor's office, they draped the remains over the Welcome to Westland sign. So if we can have that removed. Also at the same time, in regards to through the chair, through the mayor's office, in regards to Annapolis Park and Carver subdivision, we would welcome a sweep by your code officer this early spring to get folks to cut their grass and try to keep the properties up there. And that's all for now. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Back to my right, sir. Yeah.
Good evening, Council. As you are all well aware, I'm a tax-paying citizen in the city of Westland. We don't need to go over all that again. I want to start off by commending the City Council again on its, the City Council and the Fire Department on the dedication to Brian Wolke. The sign out front, you know, it took obviously many years for that to happen, nearly 10 years, unfortunately. But it's a nice thing to see. We must never forget Brian and what he went through. And hopefully we can all learn from that, at least in the fire service. Secondly, it seems again, unfortunately, the Westland Public Safety is unable to keep itself out of the news. Because just after that council meeting a couple of weeks ago, as you're all aware, and I'm sure the public's aware, a police officer snapped a woman's arm. So here we go again. When does it end? When is there accountability in this city? I have sent emails to some of you, like I had mentioned last time, about some concerns I had and a request of an investigation into the Westland Fire Department and its chief. I've received no correspondence from the city, no correspondence from any council member, no correspondence from the mayor, no correspondence from HR. So I'm going to bring these questions publicly since they can't be provided to me privately. One of the questions I have is if the department has yet investigated a discharged handgun inside of fire station number 1. The discharged handgun with a bullet hole in the wall should be covered up by a picture in the bunk room. I was not employed when this happened, but was told it did take place. I have the member's name. I'll give you an opportunity to contact me privately on who that individual might be instead of publicly. Another question I have is if there's ever been an accountability for the Animal Control Division authorizing throwing a dead dog in a dumpster. I understand this was many years ago, but actually I believe under Fire Chief Michael Reddy and his administration. I understand at that time the animal control was pulled from the fire service, but I want to know if there's been accountability for that individual member that's made that call. I think he's sitting over here. Thank you.
All right, is there anybody on my left? Come back to my right. Ma'am? Ma'am? Far, with the, yes, ma'am.
Hi, my name is Christina Brakovich. I spoke at the May 1st meeting, and I told you a few things about what was going on in your city. The very next day of leaving that meeting, we had one of your officers snap a girl's arm, putting her in a Kimura hold, which was told by the family that that's a tactic that the police use, which is not true. I spoke to several officers. They don't even use that in their training to become an officer. I don't know when it's going to stop, when you guys are going to stop kicking the can down the road until you can't kick it any further. So this is probably going to be the last time that I speak to you guys at this meeting because we're going to have some upcoming court cases. I've also brought on a firefighter who's an independent investigator who's going to reopen Brian Wilkie's death because the reports that were made for that day when he died, they all don't add up if you look in the lawsuits. And also, while some thought they were confident in covering up what really happened that day and who started the fire, they forgot a few missing pieces. And some of those victims have now come forward who are witnesses to murder and arson. It's really hard for me to go after police officers when I have several in my family. And it's not that we have an entire bad police department here in Westland. We have a few officers who don't belong to have a badge. They abuse that power. And one of those officers is Samir Garcia, and he's an MMA fighter. And now we have a 20-year-old girl who don't have the use of her arm anymore. It may never be the same. It may never, ever be the same. It's too dangerous now at this point for her to even get surgery. And I don't want to go any further on that case, like I said, because it's an ongoing court matter. But I do hope that, you know, if any of you, I just hope you take a stand to this. I hope you don't want that name for your city. Because if this, I don't even live in Westland, okay? I used to live here long ago, and it's not too far from my city. I live in Livonia. I'm a Livonia resident, but I'm an investigator here in Michigan. I'm also a security officer to Eminem's mother. I've never seen a city who can't take responsibility for anything that they do. So I just wish if you do one thing, even if it's for Brian, that you...
Your time's up. Thank you.
Do something for
Thank you.
once.
Is there anybody on my left? Sir.
Hi, my name is Lonnie Harper. I have been a Westland resident for almost all my life. I grew up here. I suck at reading. My wife and I recently bought a home in Westland and plan to raise our family here. I'm here today on a few words about Officer Garcia. To our family, he's Coach Garcia. After hearing about this unfortunate incident, I wanted to speak out to defend this man's reputation in our community. Let me tell you what I know about Shamir. He's so much more than a 60-second video caught on body cam footage. He's a resident of Westland and has been for 25 years. He's a family man with 2 small children, a regular guy working to pay his bills, trying to make ends meet, just like the rest of us. 3, he has been the Westland police officer for protecting our entire community for over 7 years. Now, let me tell you what he is to me and my family. He's a coach and a good one. Coach Garcia has been working with our youth in this community for over 8 years at John Glenn High School. He is a wrestling coach. He is not only making a difference as a police officer, but as a mentor in our community. I have watched him coach for 2 years now, not only my own children, but many others. He is a positive role model for these kids. He's making a difference in our community and our youth. I know this is not only because I see him interact with the kids, but at practice and meets. It's because I have 4 children of my own. 3 are active in the wrestling program, and I have worked directly with Coach Garcia. Having 4 teens and preteens at our home is the place where the neighborhood kids all hang out. We always have a house full of kids, even when they might not be our own. That's how we like it. We want the kids at our home so we know what's going on, and so they know they always have a safe place with us. There's a bonus to having a house full of kids. You hear things, you have conversations, and you get to watch interactions. I have talked to many kids about Coach Garcia and how great they think he is, but I hear what they say when they don't know I'm listening. That's what really counts, when I overhear them singing the praises of Coach Garcia. I know he's making a difference in their lives. He has been making an impact in this community for over 8 years. Our community has been touched by this man, whether you realize it or not. We all know why we're here. Unfortunately, there was an incident while Officer Garcia was working, and a woman Officer Garcia was attempting to arrest resisted. Even after he approached her, calmly treated her respectfully, and said please several times, as seen on the video release, she resisted arrest and in doing so suffered an injury. This is an unfortunate accident that could have been avoided. Her poor choices led to an arrest. Her poor choice of resisting arrest led to an unfortunate situation. Her desire to repeatedly make poor choices should not in no way reflect poorly on Officer Garcia or his actions. He is not a bad cop. He did not intentionally hurt this woman. This is not in his nature. He is a kind and fair man. She would have realized that if she would have complied with the officer when asked to do so. I know there's some buzz about his history of an MMA fighter, and that's the hot topic, a nice juicy storyline for the press and social media. That's ridiculous. Yes, he was an MMA fighter. Yes, he was good at it. Yes, he knows how to defend himself, and yes, he is strong. But that doesn't give anyone else the right to judge him or assume because of what he would intentionally hurt another human being.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Your time's up. Thank you. Is there anybody on my right? Yes, ma'am.
Good evening. I come here to make you aware of some very serious issues taking place in the city. The biggest problem is the rampant nepotism, because when employee conduct is illegal, it is covered up. Look at the conduct of the former police chief. I give you credit for getting rid of him. Mike McNamara told you, Mayor, to, quote, keep it quiet. And you did until the video was online. My history with the city is around 2014. The ordnance fire department kept coming to my house in violation of several laws. They cut the lock off my gate, threatened me, ripped up property, illegally searched and stole property. The conduct was absolutely in violation of constitutional rights of your all-American taxpayer resident. Due to my lawsuit against Chris Sparza and Brendo Ring, now Minton, and others, the city was supposed to separate the ordinance department from the fire department. All they did was a sham by changing the name. It's still run by the fire department. I doubt Sparza or Minton who is hired, Ms. Minton was hired due to nepotism, even got any discipline for the severe wrongful conduct, which I have video. Sparra and Minton must go, not optional. They are malicious bullies that do not follow the law and in essence commit perjury. They are committing hate crimes. The department is worse now because they used to post online complaints and the results. Now it is all concealed and hidden from the public. I have suffered harassment from Sparra and Minton for the last decade. Ridiculously, they just criminally charged me with being in violation of fence ordinances, claiming my clothesline was a fence. All the while, the neighbor's privacy fence has broken posts and is dilapidated, but they refuse to do anything about it. In fact, the city was going to install a new fence for the neighbor at taxpayers' expense. They must be related to someone to get such good attempted privileges. Sparrow and Minton, pursuing this false clothesline fence claim, swore the charge was true when it was not. That was a false swearing and amounts to fraud and perjury. Months later, Mr. McNamara dropped the prosecution because it could never be won. Just as two people sitting on a fence trying to make $1 out of 50 cents is impossible, the same as making a clothesline into a fence. While suing the city, Mr. Adams, unknowingly to me, added $180 on my property taxes, claiming my property was vacant. That was fraud. Sparrow refuses to take complaints, he just ignores them. My neighbor's son, who lives in Garden City, comes over every day running a business out of the garage. I have to listen to machinery all day long, and Sparrow does nothing about it. Lastly, there are city employees that live in Westland property for a decade and never paid any property taxes. That is fraud and stealing from the taxpayers. It is covered up because the property is not foreclosed for non-payment. $30,000 to $40,000.
Thank you, ma'am. Your time's up. Thank you. Is anybody on my left? Ma'am? Yes, ma'am.
Good evening, everyone. Ruth Dale, Westland. I'm hearing everybody talk about how many years they've lived here. In my 67 years as a Nankin Westland resident, I want to recall a couple of situations that I've had with the fire police departments. A couple of years ago, I was stopped on a residential street and told I was speeding and had also ran a stop sign. This sounds like confession. I said, I'm sorry, I don't think I did run a stop sign. I always come to a complete stop. I was taught that. And the officer, however, was so courteous. He gave me a warning, no ticket. He did check my driver's license, and he must have seen that I had no violations, or I was elderly. And some years ago, I had to place my first and only 911 call to the fire department. They arrived, I don't know, seemed like a couple of minutes. And I just want to point out how compassionate they were helping me, because my my husband had had a seizure. I was in the process of having a seizure. So my dealings with the fire and police department, again, has always been positive. County Commissioner Anderson did tell me that on Middle Belt, the curb lane south of Middle Belt Bridge, and almost up to the trail, We have one lane closed off, the curb lane, so you can imagine what fun we're having. I'm like, I can only make a right now, none of this left. They're replacing a wood telephone pole with a steel. And near the bridge, they're doing a grate. Regarding traffic on Middlebelt, just slightly improved, and of course now with this other project going, very bad. I don't even want to go into, I mean, you can imagine left turns are bad, just not a good time. Of course, I have to say it.
Your time's up, Ms.
Oh.
Dale. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, time's up, Ms. Dale.
I
Thank
know.
you.
I'm not going to make a motion tonight.
Yeah. All right. Hey, real quick, if I can remind everybody, if you are going to have some sidebar conversations, please just take them outside. It gets hard for us to hear sometimes, so if you could be courteous to everybody else, I appreciate it. Thank you. Is there anybody on my right? Sir? Yes, Ray.
Got myself a little list here for some good, I try to find good things in people, that's me. But, anyway, I have a question about Merriman Road there, the construction, that's been going on for a long time. When is that planning on being fixed? Curious about that. Anyway, Merriman and Warren, I believe. Okay. Mental health, let's go back in that topic. Sometimes we don't have this conversation. But I'm going to have a little bit of it. It's just a refresher. This is the Mental Health Awareness Month, and suicide is pretty high. We like to see it go down. And anyway, there is people out there, and sometimes it's not talked enough when suicide does happen. Check on your loved ones. They might be in trouble. You never know. Or your friends, and see how they're doing. To me, that's important because a lot of times it's this rug, they shove it underneath it, and we need to take it out. The police can do the best they can, but our friends need to check on one another because you don't know what the person is going through. It could be anything. So it's a phone number. I know Mike up there, Mike McDermott, does say it for me sometimes, 988, and so does Melissa. Mental health is very passionate to me. So I want to make sure I bring that up tonight. And the police thing, I think it's good that there being awareness for the week, appreciation. I appreciate them every day, what they're doing. You don't know what some of these officers that go through, they have a hard day sometimes, and you can make their day. So I support police officers. I mean, you're going to have maybe a bad, but hey, doesn't mean everybody's bad. So it's Appreciation Week. I'm talking about Westland, Wayne, Livonia, all of them. I appreciate them when I see them. When I see them on the road, if I go to the store, they're human too. Hey, how are you? And I'll say, hey, good, how are you doing? So it's just, appreciate. I like when someone says hi to me, for example. And the agenda, Richard, please, hopefully you can make some more so I can get one next time too. We were short on tonight. I couldn't read anything what was going on here. So, also the bottom of my last thing I want to talk about tonight is 40 years of self-advocacy. Ray's going to be speaking somewhere. And I'm speaking about this special lady who helped me in my life, and I'm leading it now. She has passed. But they're asking me to do the presentation of her. And I am very proud. 40 years ago, just imagine, people with disabilities back then were ignored. But people now, or all people are living together, because like I say to people, it could be your sons, your daughters into that situation with autistic, disabilities.
Thanks, Ray. Your time's up.
Thank you.
All right, anybody on my left? Okay, anybody on my right? Sir?
Edward Pruitt here. As we noticed, there's a couple concerns that we have seen here. If you notice, a couple, speaking on accessibility, a few people have had to rush their comments because it's 3 minutes. In the past, it used to be more than that, and a lot of the rhetoric that's put out was they lowered it for order, but we found that behind the scenes, council people didn't want to stay till 1 o'clock in the morning to hear their constituents. Other comments behind the scenes was that they didn't want to hear community members drone on. We can't have that type of thinking. These rules that have been put in place to lower the threshold doesn't help the community. There's more that community members need to say and speak to you and should have the opportunity on this podium. Another piece of accessibility issues that we are seeing that the community continues to speak about is that even the rules that you have placed forward, Westland has a history of silencing the community. We had an interruption before, but in 2020, after being placed on the hot seat, questions being asked, the city attorney as well as the council president spoke up and said that they were going to look to see how they can change the rules or create new rules. After that, the reading that comes beforehand came into play. We have to have a change. The other piece of the puzzle that we need to talk about is public safety. There's a big concern with public safety and accountability and transparency. Many people bring this up time after time. Some people aren't even comfortable speaking to anybody in the city of government because they keep getting trampled over. It's time for us to move to a citizens review board. Councilman McDermott brought up in 2017 citizens review. 2020, I brought it up, and nothing's been done. 6 years. So it's time for a change, and it's time to put our mouth where the money is, or money where our mouth is. And so I'm going to tell you today that I will be sending each of you a resolution, 2 resolutions, one concerning greater accessibility, and 2 concerning public safety, independence, public safety, citizens oversight. It's necessary that we move forward on this now. It's time that we continue to look at, we can look at the clock all day long. And what happens with that clock is many people at the time that they get in the 3 minutes, they can't speak the fullness of what they need to speak. So we are moving forward.
Thank you, sir. Is there anyone on my left? Is anybody on my right? Sir.
Richard Graham from Move Westland Forward again. Councilman Hornbuckle, you gave some alarming comments last council meeting and mentioned the library board. Let's make sure everyone understands how you were involved with the library board. Our previous mayor appointed you to the library board, and that board, you had an executive position. Now, many of us know the reason why you were put on this board is because you did what you were told by Team Wild. Before you quit the board, you were involved in the firing of 5 highly educated women, our librarians. Again, you aided in voting to terminate the 5 women. Based on this, you were once again rewarded and appointed on council, joining now Team Landau. You did not stand up for the librarians and voted like you were told to do, then resigned when things got bad. I think Councilman McDermott, you actually were part of the protest. Appointed interim Mayor Landau. Just wanted to provide some comments from the last meeting. I hear there's more about Michelle Yeager that might be coming out, and what happened to her. Might be pretty interesting. Amazing how you knew about the former police chief video, but did not watch it. Almost like a former president that didn't inhale. Somehow the deputy mayor knew something, and the city attorney knew something, but you seem not to know much, but yet reported something to Channel 7 News. Bottom line, you hid from council for many months the video until it was put onto social media. That decision should lead to your resignation as mayor and proves you do what you are told to do, why you do make the perfect mayor. On February 21st council meeting, you requested that I contact the mall management and schedule a meeting because, to quote you, you have not been able to talk to them for 6 to 7 years. That's right, 6 to 7 years. So I went to work and was able to have the mall management email me back. They were eager to meet with the city. Funny thing, you would not acknowledge me setting this up for you during the last council meeting or answer my last 3 to 4 emails I sent to you over the last week or week and a half, copying council and our state rep. From what I understand, you seem afraid to answer anyone, while others believe you are working on a PR scheme. Once again, you show your unprofessionalism and why you were a terrible choice to be mayor. Frankly, in the business world, you would have been terminated by now, based on not talking to the mall management to 6 to 7 years and refusing to acknowledge someone who is trying to help the city. You were groomed well by the previous mayor. So why have you refused my help or reached out to thank me? Nothing. Doing your job for you doesn't, nothing?
I do my job well, thank you.
What was that?
I do my job well, thank you.
But why not acknowledge when I did the work for you? No?
Time's up, sir. Thank you.
Unprofessional.
Is there anybody on my left? Anyone on my right? Ma'am?
I hope I'm not going to be redundant. Emily Bauman, Westland resident. I actually wanted to talk about the Police Week. I think I did some, President John F. Kennedy started this in 1962, the National Police Week, where he was honoring those who had lost their lives in their service. I think it's really valuable, obviously, that we do recognize police. We do honor those. I know this is a really difficult thing to bring up right now with everything that I'm hearing, but at the same time, I have to keep coming back to what I was raised when how I was raised. And there is an honor and respect, and you do as you to the police. And I'm not trying to set anything or say anything about anything because I don't know all the specifics about what's all going on. But I do think that yes, there are good police officers, and we do need to respect them and honor them. And I do think that when people lose their lives giving of their service, we really need to remember that. I have a police officer brother. I have a police officer on my father's side. I have fire department on my husband's side. So I have people who have done, in my family that have done this, and somehow we've got to balance this and have a high bar of expectation of what we want them to do for us, but at the same time, really honor and remember and respect that I'm not a police officer. I don't know what they go under. I really don't. But at the same time, I know that it's important to honor and respect, and I hope people will still do that this week. Michigan Police Week is a little bit more liberal. It doesn't talk about just the ones that have fallen. It says respect those that are still serving. So I really hope that there is that. That being said, I want to lead into the other very important thing to me is mental health awareness, which I know is this month, and we didn't really talk a lot about it. Ray did. But mental health awareness, the key with that is it's silent. Mental health is silent. As I told my daughter, I said, if you had a bone sticking out of your body and it was getting gangrene, a lot of people would tell you, do something about that. And, they would. And if you didn't do anything, you'd be like, oh, no, it's going to get better. It'll heal. It'll, under the rug, whatever. But when you've got a bone sticking out of your brain that no one else can see, an injury like that, it's repairable. It's fixable, just like that bone is. It's repairable, it's fixable, and it doesn't have to be a life sentence or a death sentence, as I've called it. So we just need to be aware and cognizant of people that what they're thinking when they're talking to you and listening to you. Just take a minute and say, hey, how you doing? Just really care, and don't be in a hurry. Don't be in a hurry for the answer. Just say, how are you doing? I need to know. I need to know. They might bawl. And it's okay. They might go crying. You might cry. It's okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, I keep going to my left. Is there anybody on my left? All right. I know you had your hand up, ma'am, right there. Did you want to say something? Yes, you. I don't know. Is there anybody on my right? Sir.
Well, I haven't addressed you folks for a while. My name is Tony Purton. I'm a precinct delegate for Westland 30. After some planning and talking to a few people in the city, I run a community activism group called Let's Mobilize. And in cooperation with the Wayne 12th Executive Committee, we are planning a mayoral forum for the third week of June before the absentee ballots go out. At the suggestion of Councilman Herzberg, we asked that council would approve a fee waiver for the big meeting room. So we'd have it here at City Hall and everybody in Westland could come that will fit into the room. I hope that Mr. Godbout would be there and Mr. Landau and Mr. Alwadi is in the room. And I was going to ask Kevin, but he left. I think people are open to that. I think this is the first time in a long time we've had 6 people run for mayor. And I think it would be good to hear from everybody. So hope you guys will consider that. And then in closing, because my friend Josh is not here, 2 words, water tower.
Thank you. All right, is there anybody else in the audience? Yes, ma'am.
Got me under the pressure for this 3 minutes. I agree with the other gentleman. 5 minutes would be helpful because I have a lot to say. So let's start with Chief Jed Rusick, who is a great, excellent chief. Hey, I don't know one person in this room that doesn't have a skeleton in their closet. He said he was sorry. It was mistakes he made when he was a young man. I've seen him filter through the police department. There was some bad people working there, and, you know, he made them go away. I don't think he deserved that. I don't think people deserve to have videos pulled up from their ex-wife from 25, 30 years ago. He made mistakes. He said he's sorry. He's a great chief in my book. Next, Officer Garcia. He's an excellent officer. He would never break anybody's arm on purpose. I'm very sorry what happened to this woman. I'd like to empathize with her. Maybe you had a weak arm. Maybe you had a previous injury. I have no idea. I believe some of this is money. I believe what the mayor said before, there's a lot of political moves being made here that I don't appreciate. I don't want videos dug up on me, and I don't think anybody in this room wants a video dug up on them. And I don't believe the mayor said that word. I know he didn't say it. He's a good guy. He's a decent person. And Officer Garcia, I have a challenged person that has eloped 230 times in the past 4 years. And Officer Garcia knows how to talk to her. Everyone in this police department has helped me and done a great job, and they deserve some credit. And there's actually people working for our state that I asked for help with my caregiving situation because Wayne County wronged me and did terrible stuff to me as a caregiver. And they told me, I never heard from them. Then I asked them, oh, we can't help you. I don't have the resources. And then I actually gossiped to a local pastor and said, why is the lady telling me the sad story at the happy anniversary luncheon? Shame, shame. You're out casting stones. People are collecting videos. We got Voice Matters people attacking all these people when I never got the help I needed from anyone except this police department, okay? And they deserve respect. They're not allowed to protect themselves. They're not allowed to do their job. And every time something goes wrong, they get sued. And yes, I know there was some bad people out there that did bad stuff, fine. But there's a lot of good people that are doing good stuff, and Officer Garcia needs to keep his job. Another thing I want to mention and make it known to the public, I don't like the way the school board is handling things. Ms. Swanson, who is a great principal for the Wildwood School, has been told that she is going to another school and she's going to be an assistant principal. Everybody loves her. Everybody knows her. They sent this email out to us on Mother's Day weekend. This woman has no children. She mothers over 500 children at Wildwood and has manned this place by herself during COVID without a social worker. And that needs to stop too. The city needs to step in and stop the Wayne Westland School District from moving these people around and doing stuff to good people. If they want to keep their job, they should be allowed to stay. And I support the police department 100% and the fire department. I'm sorry for what anybody else has been through. Thank you.
Thank you. Ma'am, I see your hand up in the back.
Hello, I was born and raised in Garden, Westland. And I'm back to talking about my mother, who was taken from her house. But before she was taken from her house, Sergeant Thurridge, who was that retired Deputy Sergeant Thurridge after this, came to the house and to meet with the guardian ad litem to get the investigation that my brother and my brother deceased, Raymond, there were 10 living children. This thick of the bank statement and everything that they stole from my mother and father from the home equity loan, which my sister-in-law made up so my brother could live off of them, of his world of floors in Canton, so he could live wealthy. And he laughed at my mother, and she laughed, and they said, will you take your dog and buy her steaks and live wealthy off of this money? And the kids only want to visit you. And my mother said, I don't want to see them. I don't want to see them. They stole my money. And they said, well, that's all right. They stole your money. You still got money to live off. She says, I don't want to see them. And she's crying. She doesn't want to visit them. And they just kept going and laughing and saying things like, well, just party with your dog, walk with your dog, work in the garden, and forget about it. And then they go and say, we'll see you tomorrow in court, where they're going to take and put her in guardianship and say she's incapacitated because she's forgetting about everything that they're doing to her. And then recently, last year, I was giving by my sister's lawyer her prescriptions that because I said, why is she getting prescriptions that are not covered by Medicare? And so he just gave them to me. And so she's on 3 things that will make her fall. Aricet, which she's not demented, and Claritin and another one, and they all make you fall. And then she's given another drug that's a rheumatoid arthritis. And if you give it to somebody that has kidney failure, which she has kidney failure, and it's been reported in her documentation when they took her away to Botsford, she can drop dead at any minute. How many people in the family has my sister told to is she giving that to? Does everybody in the family and all the grandchildren know that she's giving this? My sister, nurse practitioner, knows what she's
Thank you,
giving.
ma'am. Your time's up. Thank you.
That she can drop dead any minute because what she's giving.
Thank you.
And that's one of the
Thank you.
Westland Police. Thank you.
All right, is there anybody else in the audience? Sir?
Well, thank you, Council President. I wasn't going to speak again, and I decided to go casual. It is, you said the air conditioning wasn't working, and I'm sitting in the back row breaking a sweat. So a couple people got up and thanked our city employees, and I just wanted to come up and say, I appreciate you doing that because we have a lot of great people who work here for our city. A lot of people put in the hard work every day. To run a city like this, it takes a lot of great work from a lot of great people. So I really appreciate our city employees. So thank you to the people that got up and highlighted that. I do appreciate it. The real reason one of the other reasons I wanted to get back up though was something that Ray brought up, which is that mental health really matters, and it matters to our community. And something that I meant to highlight when I spoke earlier was that the Michigan House of Representatives did last week pass a resolution that I sponsored designating May as Mental Health Awareness Month in the state of Michigan. And I don't just do that just to put it on paper, but it really does mean something, and it means something to our community here too. Because supporting one another, it's not just about do you work for the city, or do you come to council meetings, or do you come to my coffee hour or support me? It's really about our community as a whole and treating each other fairly and with respect. And I just want to say that our office, you know, we are not a mental health hotline, but we are an open door. And again, I want to provide our office in Lansing as a resource. obviously I reside here in Westland, but I go up to Lansing every week, and I check in with my staff to see who's called and contacted us, and we do provide a lot of resources around things such as mental health. So one more time, I'm just going to give out our number in case anybody needs anything at all. It is 517-373-2275. So you can call us for any reason. We'll try to point you in the right direction. Thanks, Ray, for bringing that up, and mental health does matter. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody else in the audience? All right, we'll close citizen comments and move to comments from the administration. Mayor?
Thank you, President Hart. Thank you, everyone, for being here tonight and sticking out through the heat tonight. Do want to thank everybody that reached out to me over the past couple weeks. It's amazing how much support I didn't realize I had, but a lot of people reaching out to me over some of the issues that were out there recently, so I really, really appreciate all the residents that reached out. Residents, friends, family from out of state. A lot of people reached out, so thank you to that. Evan's here. I want to give Evan a shout out. Evan McCarthy is an intern that's going to be working with right now. He's working with the planning department. He's going to be attending Grand Valley University. He came in last week. He's going to be working with us all summer. He's going to work in various departments. So I just want to introduce the audience and the city council to Evan. So welcome, Evan. I also want to congratulate Aaron Brown for his appointment to the Downtown Development Authority. Thanks for sticking around the night. I think you're going to do a great job on that board. When I met you it was my first ribbon cutting. I met you there. I knew you were going to be a great business to have in our city, and you're on a hot corner. Every time I drive by, there's cars lining up around the building, so glad to see you're doing well over there. I hope all the moms, grandmas, aunts, big sisters, godmothers, and other tireless caregivers had an enjoyable Mother's Day, including our two councilwomen up here, Council President Pro Tem Andrew Rakowski and Melissa Sampe. The electronics recycling event was a huge success. On Earth Day, we were able to capture 18,745 pounds of electronics for recycling. So I want to thank Craig Brown and his staff, along with Dedicated Recycling, for organizing such a successful event. I am going to talk about Police Officers Week. I want to take a moment to recognize the brave women and men who serve and protect our community. So today on National Police Officers Day, we pause to remember the courageous police officers who lost their lives in the line of duty. We honor their sacrifice and send our love and support to their families and colleagues. I appreciate all that police officers do to keep us safe, and I express my gratitude for their tireless commitment. Thank you for your service. City of Westland Police and Fire Departments, along with the City of Westland, will be hosting a Kids Safety Day this Saturday, May 20th, right here at City Hall from 11 a.m. until 2 p.m. The event will teach a variety of safety topics for children and parents. There will be plenty of free, fun activities for the children to participate in, including a bounce house, face painting, and a DJ. So come on by and enjoy a great event here at City Hall. We've got a press release going out tomorrow, but I want to give you guys a quick unveiling. The Westland Police Department is excited to announce the unveiling of its next generation of hybrid electric patrol cars. The City of Westland purchased 20 Ford Police Interceptors for 2023 by using American Rescue Plan Act dollars. Each new vehicle features a 3.3-liter HEV engine with 318 combined horsepower. Ford describes this model as the first ever pursuit-rated hybrid police SUV. Even with all that power, the next generation engines are approximately 25% more fuel efficient than Westland's previous fleet of Ford Explorers. Summertime, so that means the Farmers and Artisan Market is going to be opening up for the 2023 season on Thursday, May 25th from 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. Shopping at your local farmers market is a great opportunity to purchase fresh produce, baked goods, and other items to support our local economy. With the warmer weather upon us, together with Westland's Department of Public Service, the 18 District Courts Work Program, and the Neighborhood Services Department, I'm announcing the kickoff of the third annual Operation Clean Sweep, which is a comprehensive cleanup of trash and litter across the city in an effort to prevent blight and maintain the beauty of our city. Operation Clean Sweep program was launched in 2021 and will return the week of June 5th. This program divides the city up into 5 sections, and employees from each of the departments will remove trash from along the major and local roads, city parks, and vacant commercial properties. It's also a great opportunity for residents to pitch in and help by sprucing up their yards and surrounding neighborhoods. Before I go on to my last thing, if it's okay, Council President, can I ask my police chief to give a quick update on the police department renovations?
Go ahead, Chief.
Thank you. Starting next Monday, the 22nd, construction begins at the police department. The public parking lot and the public entrance will be closed. They're going to remain fully operational. We're going to have a BARC unit officer just in the east parking lot, right across from the public entrance where it would be. 24/7 for police reports, or if there's an emergency, if you got to pull in or talk to an officer. Records is going to be mostly email and phone calls, but we're going to work through that too. But we're going to maintain fully operational for this project. This piece is probably going to be 2 to 3 weeks with the entrance being closed. Other phases will be afterward, and the entrance will be back open. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Lastly, last week, the City of Westland, along with the Westland Fire Department, paid respect as we remembered the line-of-duty death of firefighter Brian Wilkie, who died 10 years ago at the age of 29. On May 8, 2013, firefighter Wilkie gave the ultimate sacrifice for the job he loved, leaving behind a loving wife, daughter, and a caring family. His death not only impacted his family, but also the department and the community in which he served. As we remember him, please take time out of your day to remember Brian Wilkie, his family, and all the public safety responders across our nation that have chosen a noble profession that serves their citizens. Honoring Brian is a way to truly never forget the sacrifices our firefighters, police officers, and military members are willing to take in the name of service to their nation or community. Firefighters choose to work under some of the most dangerous conditions imaginable, whether rushing into a burning building or providing emergency rescue services. When a firefighter dies, we feel a collective sense of loss as we recall their bravery and commitment to keeping the community safe. In recognizing Brian, who gave his life protecting and ensuring the safety of the community he served, the significance of his contribution cannot be minimized. And while he is dearly missed, his legacy lives on in the spirit of those who continue to serve. Last Monday, Ford Road from Wayne to Newburgh was officially named the Firefighter Brian Wilkie Memorial Highway with the passing of various bills in the House and Senate. I want to take an opportunity to thank everyone that was involved in making this happen. I know our union president, David Polite's here. Fire Chief Stamper had a great deal in that, and I had a small part, but I thank you guys for leading a charge on that. I know Clerk LeBlanc actually got the ball rolling back when he was in the House. So thank you to everyone involved with making that happen. That's all I have tonight.
Thank you. Move on to the city attorney.
Thank you, Council President. I just try to give some comments relative to the question raised about where are the marijuana facilities in the city in terms of opening. So as was mentioned, there is a retail facility that's being built presently, but I think the question really goes to the 3 conditional licenses granted to the co-located facilities that were grow, processing, and retail that were anticipated to be built on primarily on the Cherry Hill, Newburgh area. There have been a couple of lawsuits that those co-located facility conditional licensees have advanced. The next court hearing on those is not until October of 2023. But the real issue is the marijuana market has really changed over the last few years. So whether you're reading business newspapers like Crane's or you're reading just general newspapers, and by that I mean online, nobody's reading newspapers, there's just has been such a dramatic change in the marijuana market. The businesses that received licenses are simply reevaluating their options. The city continues to talk to the conditional licensees about those options, and we are cognizant of the residents' desire to have some of these facilities open, but again, it's with recognition of both lawsuits that are existing as well as changing marketplace. So, thank you.
Thank you. I'll begin council comments with Councilman Hertzberg.
Thanks, Council President. Nothing tonight except that I just want to wish congratulations to Aaron Brown on your appointment. Thank you for stepping up for that. And then just a second reminder here, was mentioned earlier about the Memorial Day Parade. That's May 28th at 1 p.m. So I'll be there. I hope to see everybody there. John Glenn to the library on Central City Parkway, May 28th. So that's it for me tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilwoman Sampe?
Thank you, Council President. I hope everyone's doing well. Thank you, Mayor, for mentioning about Mother's Day. So I definitely want to take a moment to appreciate the mothers and mother figures who have made differences in your lives. Whether it's a biological mom, a stepmom, a grandma, aunt, neighbor, whoever you call mom, I hope that you remembered them this past Sunday. Aaron, congratulations again on your appointment. And Ray, you brought up about mental health awareness, and I actually brought it up last meeting as well, too. I know you weren't here. And I think part of mental health, too, is just being kind to everyone you meet. I think we always jump to the negative or always jump to, attacking people. Sometimes just ask questions. Ask how someone's doing. Give people the benefit of the doubt. I just feel like we don't do that now. think it's instantly putting people on a pedestal and chastising them. It's really sad. It is. It's, a lot of negativity, not a lot of positivity. And I really hope that people remember that. People make mistakes. They do. But you don't know what's going on in their life. You don't know the mistakes that they made might have been because of a sick child or family member or something. It's just, the negativity is just, it's pretty sad. So I really hope that people can ask for help if they're not okay, and things that they're dealing with and the strength that they have. I really hope that asking for that help it's not weakness, it's actually a sign of strength. I wanted to also, I know there's a few police officers, I wanted to thank you during National Police Week. And I know that you guys make sacrifices on a daily basis, so thank you so much. I absolutely support you. The Westland Police Department Honor Guard team, who is in Washington, D.C. right now, was honored, and they made national recognition. So congratulations. They were performing the opening ceremony for a candlelight vigil during the the annual Police Week. So congratulations, and hopefully they can see this, or maybe you'll show them. So thank you so much for being down there and representing Westland. On May 6th, I was able to attend the Westland Firefighters Charity Ball, and if you didn't attend, I hope you'll attend next year. I really, just the energy in the room was absolutely amazing, and the support that we have for, our Westland Professional Firefighters Union that put it on is unbelievable. So we have our president, Dave Polite, who was part of the committee, the event chairman, Brian Swayzing, Rich Deege, I know Kevin Caldwell, Anthony Lashotis. I feel like it was a big group of you that put it together, but the tribute to two of our bravest, Brian Wilkie and Sergeant Todd Stanaway, who made the ultimate sacrifice. So it was a great event. I just wanted to recognize you for just putting on something so special, and I stayed right to the end. So that's a positive thing with a busy schedule. So congratulations. I know it was mentioned, but the Westland Police and Fire are hosting the Kids Safety Day on Saturday from 11 to 3. It's going to take place here, so bring out your kiddos. It looks like it's going to be a great event. They're going to have a DJ and goodies and a car seat inspection. So if you have a few minutes and you want to stop out, hopefully you can join that event. Also on Saturday, Norwing Community Garden is doing an open house, so I wanted to give them a shout out. So at 11, there's going to be cooking demonstration, flower giveaway, and ability to take home a potted plant. So I wanted to shout that out as well too, and looks like another great event that they're putting on. And thank you, Dan, for mentioning about the Memorial Day Parade. I'm going to be walking with other elected officials, and I also am excited about that. So it's a special event, and I hope people could come out and join us. There's just a couple questions. I won't go through a bunch of them, but there's a question about Merriman Road and when is that opening, and I think we all feel the same way. I think we're done with construction, but I heard it's before the Light Fest. So I heard November, we'll see what happens, but I am optimistic that we will have it open. And then I know that there is a water tower feasibility study that we're talking about as well too. So I wanted to mention that. That's something that's on our radar screen to see the feasibility of that. And other than that, I just thank everyone for your great comments and support. Our next meeting is going to be on Tuesday the 30th because of Memorial Day. We'll be here at 7 o'clock.
No.
Oh my gosh, just joking. I thought that we...
June 5th.
Well, just joking. Sorry, June. So we're done for May then? Yeah. Okay, we're done. Sorry.
Never done. We're just done for council.
Now we're done for council. We're done for council. But if you need to reach us, okay, so I'll plug mine. My personal council page, Councilwoman Melissa Sampe, if you want to reach out. My cell phone number is 734-637-2078. I've actually been speaking with a lot of residents. I've been out door knocking, asking them on their thoughts on some surveys that we sent out for a leaf pickup, in addition to talking to residents, just see how things are going. So you can reach out to me on Facebook. You can call me. Until then, everyone have a great holiday. Be safe and kind to one another, and we'll see you in June.
Thank you. Councilman Godbout.
Thanks. I'll keep it brief since it is a little warm in here. I just wanted to thank Aaron for stepping up to sit on the DDA. I'm sure, based off of your resume, and I've met you when you had the grand opening, I'm confident you'll be a great addition to that board. So thank you for your willingness to serve on that board. And that's all I have this evening. Thanks.
Thank you, Councilman. Move on to Councilman Hornbuckle.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. I would like to start off by thanking everyone for being here, giving me your thoughts and your stories. I definitely want to hear more from the community on your opinions and your ideas. That's really great. I do want to echo the Kids Safety Day this Saturday, May 20th at City Hall, 11 a.m. It's definitely close to my heart. I have my kids here to enjoy those activities. Also, I wanted to address the library thing because, Mr. Graham, you beat me up every time I do something positive in the community about the library. So yes, I was appointed to the library, which every position get appointed to the library, and I appreciate being appointed. A lot of great things came out of the library and and some not so good things. But the moral of the story is a lot of things were learned, and I continue to learn and bring those things to City Council as well. So thank you for always supporting me, Mr. Graham. I also like to open the door for everyone else. If you want to text or call me, my cell phone number is 734-224-2747. You can also follow my council page, Councilman Hornbuckle, on Facebook. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Councilman McDermott.
Well, good evening. Take a big gulp of water because I have a lot to say as always, and it's going to be warm. Sorry to disappoint. First off, thank you to Aaron Brown and the administration for appointing Aaron to the DDA. Fantastic resume, and I think he'll do wonders for us here in the Downtown Development Authority. A couple of things were brought up, one regarding the CDBG and home fund. That is separate federal funding, so that money is not generally a part of your taxpayer general fund money. That is federal money that gets allocated for CDBG and the home program. It was brought up regards to the MERS pension. One of the things that was done previously, and I was going to have Director Smith talk about this, but he left. But Director Smith, Director Block, and the City Council, we worked together with them to bond out the MERS pension back in 2021. That got us significant savings. That got you, the taxpayers, your money, significant savings when we were able to do the pension bond. Luckily for us, with this grant program that we're getting, that we're applying for and hopefully getting, this will allow us to further catch up on the pension and potentially get ahead there as well and provide some potential general fund savings and savings in other funds in your city budget as well. So there's going to be more to come on this as the application process goes through. I had the chance to talk with Director Smith today, and it sounds like it's going to be a pretty quick application process in regards to the grant for the MERS pension, so it's not like we're going to be waiting a year or two to find out. It sounds like in the summertime at some point we may get an answer from the state of Michigan on this. So I think that between the bonding out of the pension that the administration and we already did and this additional grant money that we could potentially get is going to be some significant impact and significant savings for taxpayers on our MERS pension plan. A lot of cities across the state of Michigan have really been crippled financially by the state stealing our money, stealing your money with statutory revenue sharing cuts over the years, and it's really put a crimp on our ability to catch up on pension liabilities related to the MERS pension plan, and it's been community after community that we've seen these revenue sharing cuts that have devastated municipal pension plans. And so it's about time the state does something and steps in to try and make us whole. And this grant program is, I think, one small step of many that I hope the state of Michigan takes to help us out and help taxpayers out. In regards to the police, I want to thank our officers for all their dedication and sacrifice, and all the officers who've given their life and paid the ultimate sacrifice in the line of duty. It is National Police Week, and we are very appreciative. I'm certainly very appreciative of your dedication and your work here at the community. We know that we've been in the news for some unfortunate things here recently, and we've got to address those. And that's where we've got to look at things like police oversight. We've got to look at things like mental health, the mental health and wellness of our officers. But that doesn't take away from all the officers who are doing the right thing and who are out there dedicated each and every day, making the sacrifices here in our community. We certainly appreciate your work and everything that you do here to keep us safe and all the work that you do in the Westland community. But in regards to that, I do think it was brought up again tonight. This is something that I'm going to keep talking about. Hopefully get the opportunity to work with the administration and my colleagues on council on, which is the oversight piece, and also on the mental health piece. Police officers, just like the rest of us, are human beings. They face all the stress, all the emotion, all the anxiety, all the depression, all the ups and downs that life throws at you. In fact, they face more of it because they deal with something so unique that most of us on a daily basis don't have to deal with. I work in human resources and recruiting for a living. I sit behind a desk. I can't imagine the stress, the anxiety, the emotion that an officer or a firefighter or a paramedic goes through day in and day out. So when I think about my own mental well-being and the stress that I have just talking to candidates on the phone, interviewing them for jobs, it is tenfold, 100-fold the stress that these men and women have to go through each and every day. And I think it is important as a community that we look out for their mental health and we look out for their well-being and we break the stigma around mental health care, and that when an officer or a firefighter or a paramedic needs mental health, that we have the resources there to provide it for them. That we break the stigma that you're weak if you seek mental health care. And especially, it seems to be especially true for men and especially true for men of color, that there is a stigma around seeking mental health care. And we want to make sure that we provide them in the contracts that we support them with and in the services that we provide them with here inside of our city, that we are giving them the adequate mental health care that they need if they so choose to seek help. And we have a great social work program here in the city that was started by our former police chief, and I know is supported by our current Chief Dolly and Deputy Chief Cummert. And we have a domestic violence program here in the city and a substance use disorder program that we're starting up as well. But I'd like to expand that mental health care program. I think it's important to reach out to folks in the community during their time of need, not just with a police officer, but with someone who understands mental illness and brain health issues and what the trauma that people are going through. And it's also important to have someone, I think, within the department who officers can go to, who our firefighters can go to when they're getting their butt kicked and they're just, feeling the stress of the job. Someone that they can turn to so that we don't see them get to the boiling point like we've seen with some of these recent incidences. I think it's critically important to not only look at the mental well-being of folks in our community, but those who serve us each and every day in our police and our fire service. And I'd like to see, that social work program expanded not only to the community, but inside the departments as well. Kind of building off that, one thing that I've had the chance to talk to the mayor about, and one thing that I think that he's been in some agreement on, and I've had the chance to talk to some of my colleagues, but not everybody about, is expanding our mental health care program and expanding public health here in the city of Westland. I know that Mayor Abdullah Hammoud in Dearborn recently launched a public health department in the city of Dearborn. I know that's something that's been on the mayor's radar. We talked about that before. I've had the chance to talk with a few of my colleagues about that as well. And that would give us the opportunity to maybe hire someone like a traveling nurse or a traveling healthcare professional. I had the opportunity to go on the run with our fire department for 24 hours, and I just got a small taste of what they go on each and every single day. And sometimes, you see the same person 2, 3, 4 times in a matter of a couple of months. And that could be for various, healthcare reasons. Maybe they're, diabetic and they didn't take their insulin, or maybe they have, high blood pressure and they couldn't afford their medication or didn't take their medication. If we can have a traveling nurse or a traveling healthcare professional who can follow up to do wellness checks on those folks after, our fire department has made a second or third or fourth run on that person in a matter of months, I think that's critically important, and it's a great preventative measure to help those people in our community out. So I'd love to see us expand the public health component, potentially starting our own Department of Public Health, and have that conversation as well. Just a few more things. I know I've been yammering on here, so I appreciate your patience on this. I, too, had the chance to attend the Firefighters Ball. I want to thank Brian, Rich, Dave, and the entire department, the union, that really put a lot of effort into planning a really extra special event this year. This was, as you know, the 10th anniversary of the passing of firefighter Wolke. And we also had the chance to honor Todd Stanaway, a firefighter who gave his life as well. And having firefighter Wolke's family there, I think, made it extra special, and it really made it that much more important to have the community not only to rally around a department, but to rally around his family. He's got a mom and a dad, a wife, a daughter who, when he gave his life, they gave theirs too. They gave up a small part of theirs as well when they lost a son, when they lost a father, when they lost a husband. It was, an honor to be a part of that, an honor to be able to recognize his family and his sacrifice that he made at that firefighter's ball, and also in the dedication. If you have the chance, go out and park in the PD parking lot, or park there at Electronic Connection there at Newburgh and Ford, and just take 2 minutes to walk up. It's a brown sign. It may not look like much, but for people who served with Brian, for his family, for those who've given the ultimate sacrifice, it sure means a heck of a lot. So take 2 minutes just to stand there and reflect on what he gave and what he meant to this community and his legacy. It's a really humbling experience just to be there, even just to drive by it. But if you have the chance to spend 2 minutes, 3 minutes in front of it, I would encourage you to do so. Given that it is Mental Health Awareness Month, thank you, Ray, thank you, Councilman Sampe, and folks who brought that up. Just to kind of build off what they said and what I mentioned earlier, there's a couple of great organizations that do a lot of work here in Metro Detroit. The NAMI organization and also the ARC Detroit. Two organizations that you can find on Facebook and you can find online. NAMI, that's N-A-M-I, and the ARC Detroit. They accept donations from the public and from the community. I would encourage you to go on and maybe volunteer some of your time or give a monetary donation to NAMI or to the ARC Detroit. We need to do a heck of a lot better on mental health, and those are two organizations with a lot of tireless advocates like Mr. Schuholz, who are working day in and day out to improve mental health, to change policy here in the state of Michigan, and to really make a difference for families and individuals who are affected by brain health issues and mental health. With that, as always, if you have anything on the agenda that you ever want to discuss with me or anything else, I'm available at 734-890-2146, a call or text away, or on my Facebook page at Councilman Mike McDermott. And I appreciate everybody for coming out. Treat each other with kindness and respect, and we will see you at some of the great city events and in June. Thank you. Have a good evening.
Thank you. Pro Tem Rakowski.
Thank you, Council President. Good evening, everyone. First, I'd like to thank Aaron Brown for his service on our DDA board. I enjoy your business, and I think you being able to speak about your experience and building in Westland will be a great addition to our DDA. Happy Mother's Day, and happy Mother's Day to all mother figures out there. I hope you had a day of peace and calm. With it being Police Week, and especially with the Police Day of Mourning, I want to recognize my cousin, Chief Riley Scott Sumner of the Chelsea Police Department, who passed away in a line of duty death 17 years ago. We love him and we keep him in our heart. It's amazing to see what his little boys have become, because now they're young men. They're actually men. I also got to attend the firefighters' ball. Not only do we take time away to recognize, firefighters Stanaway and Wolke, but the genesis of that recognition also provides for scholarship for our young people who want to go into fire service and emergency medicine. So I don't think there's a more fantastic way to preserve somebody's legacy than by giving somebody the opportunity to literally walk in their boots. I was beyond blessed to be able to be a part of the dedication. Thank you for extending that invitation. It's one of those days as a member of that community, not just Westland's community, but as a public safety member. It hits a little bit differently, and that was a tough day, but it's wonderful to be able to see that the city and his brothers aren't going to let his legacy go anywhere. So God bless. Memorial Day Parade is on Sunday, the 28th, as Mr. Statchow from the VFW Post 9885 brought to us, and it's at 1 p.m. But, you know, with Memorial Day, though a lot of us use that as the mark to the beginning of summer, we really have to recognize what Memorial Day is about, and it's really a day of mourning for the soldiers and other armed service members who lost their lives during conflict. But now I think it's appropriate that we start recognizing that 22 veterans a day, 1 in 5 from our Iraq and Afghanistan conflicts and wars, are committing suicide, and that's a record number. And so while those individuals may actually be able to come home, their fighting doesn't stop. So I think it is an appropriate time to recognize those men and women as well. And with that, thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to begin by thanking Councilman Hornbuckle for leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance today, and also congratulate and thank Aaron Brown for serving in our DDA. It's wonderful that you put that investment in there, and now we look to you to help us continue to reinvigorate that area so that other great entrepreneurs such as yourself will continue to follow and keep filling up the DDA district. Thank you. It's not an easy job, but it's a very necessary job, so thank you. Thank you. It is Memorial Day, and as my colleagues have brought up, do enjoy your time with your family, but also remember, you know, my brothers and sisters that have lost the fight, and all of our military veterans, and she's absolutely right. A lot of them came home from the battlefield, but the battlefield came with them. So they're continuing to lose. Just because they didn't fall in Iraq and Afghanistan doesn't mean they're not falling from the reasons and the terrors of war that they had to endure. And I talked to a lot of my friends at the VFW, and they struggle with this, and one of my very good friends struggles with it daily, you know, so be there for everybody, but remember, not only the ones that are fallen, but we need to stop filling up more graves at Holly, all right? It's a beautiful cemetery, but I don't like filling it up, all right? So look after each other. Remember those men and women that fell and the freedoms that you have this Memorial Day Monday. And with that, I'll thank you for all your time. I thank my colleagues for their comment as well as the public. Is there a motion to adjourn?